Every single one of us in Australia is protected by an invisible shield that we've probably never even heard of. So today, we're going to break down the official master plan that guards our oceans, our economy, and our whole way of life. It's called Australia's Civil Maritime Security Strategy.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll figure out what civil maritime security actually means. Then, we'll dive into the absolutely jaw-dropping scale of Australia's ocean territory and expose the hidden threats lurking within it. After that, we'll dissect the government's four-pillar battle plan, and finally, we'll explore what victory really looks like for Australia's future at sea.
Okay, so when you hear the words maritime security, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably warships, maybe fighter jets, right? But this strategy, it's about something much, much closer to home. Something that affects the products on our shelves and the actual safety of our shores. Okay, get this for a second. Over 80% of everything Australia trades, I'm talking from the cars we drive to the food we export, it all travels by sea. That is a massive floating pipeline for our entire economy. So the big question is, who's protecting all of that from threats that aren't exactly acts of war?
Well, that's where civil maritime security comes in. And the official definition here is actually super important. It's all about actively managing non-military risks. So we're not talking about the Navy here. This is the Coast Guard, the Border Force, environmental agencies, all forming a united front.
And here's the real key difference. Military operations, they're focused on deterring aggression from other countries. Civil security, on the other hand, is that invisible shield I was talking about. It's protecting us from everything else, from organized crime and biosecurity threats to the illegal pillaging of our natural resources.
So now that we know what we're protecting, let's take a look at where. And to really get why this matters so much, you have to understand the sheer scale of the playing field. I mean, it is genuinely mind-boggling.
Okay, just try to wrap your head around this. Australia is responsible for a patch of ocean that covers a staggering 10% of the entire planet's surface. That is an almost unimaginable area to have to watch over 24/7.
And this massive domain, it isn't just empty water. It's a full-blown economic engine. By 2025, Australia's blue economy is set to pour $100 billion into the national accounts every single year. And let's break that down to a daily reality. Each and every day, from sunrise to sunset, $1.2 billion in trade flows through our seaports. Any little hiccup in that system, and you'd better believe it's felt across the country almost instantly.
So you see, when you really look at it, this is about so much more than just shipping lanes. It's about our economy, it's about where we choose to live, our iconic tourism industry, and yeah, even the future of our energy. The ocean isn't just on our border. It is right at the very heart of the Australian way of life.
Right, so when the stakes are this high, you can bet the threats are just as serious. Let's pull back the curtain on the specific, non-military challenges this whole strategy is designed to defeat. These are the unseen dangers lurking in the shadows of our vast coastline. And the rogues gallery here is pretty extensive. We're facing sophisticated transnational crime syndicates, brazen drug smugglers, and illegal fishing fleets that just plunder our natural resources. And lurking beneath all of that is the ever-present threat of a biosecurity breach that could literally cripple our entire agricultural sector.
And if you want to understand the scale of just one of these problems, have a look at this. The data is crystal clear. Criminal organizations aren't just using the ocean, they're treating it like a superhighway to flood the country with illicit drugs. The overwhelming majority of these substances arrive on our shores by sea.
And it's not just drugs. Take a look at the explosion in illegal fishing. This chart reveals a pretty shocking trend. We went from catching just 4 illegal vessels a couple of years ago to destroying 33 of them in just 7 months. This isn't just about stolen fish, folks. It's a direct assault on our food security and a massive biosecurity risk.
So, facing this kind of onslaught of threats, what's the plan? Well, the government's entire response is built on this really powerful 4-pillar framework, and it's designed to be both comprehensive and totally adaptable.
The entire strategy is anchored by 4 key pillars: understand, influence, prevent, and respond. It's a really logical progression. You move from gathering intelligence and shaping behavior to stopping incidents before they happen, and then, only when necessary, responding with really decisive action.
It's a really clear flow of action when you think about it. You have to first understand the threat. Then you use that knowledge to influence the bad actors. This allows you to prevent incidents before they can even happen. And if one does slip through, you're ready to respond. See, it's all about getting ahead of the problem, not just cleaning up the mess afterwards. All right, so we've got the threats and we've got the strategy. But what does winning actually look like in this context? What is the ultimate end goal for protecting Australia's future out there at sea?
Well, success here isn't something you can measure by a single number, like boats intercepted. It's about the bigger picture. It's making sure our sovereignty is secure, that threats are kept at bay, that our economy and our environment can both thrive, and that we stand shoulder to shoulder with our regional partners.
And really, that brings us to the core vision of this entire strategy. The goal is to create a system that is strong enough to handle today's threats, integrated enough so that all the different parts of government work together seamlessly, and adaptive enough to evolve and meet the challenges of tomorrow.
And that's really the perfect place to leave it. This strategy isn't some dusty document sitting on a shelf. It's a living framework for a world that is constantly changing. As technology, climate, and the sheer amount of traffic on the seas evolve, new challenges are guaranteed to emerge. So the real question is, what will be the next great maritime challenge? And will Australia be ready for it?